Good evening, everyone. I'm Tia Newcomer, the CEO of CaringBridge. To start our evening tonight, I'm going to share a short story. My husband, recently retired from the fire department, and also a 2-time cancer survivor, has a saying: what you do today is important because you exchange a day of your life for it. And I can't think of a better organization to support and lead than CaringBridge. So with that, welcome to the 6th annual Giving Tuesday event at CaringBridge. I'm excited because this is one of our biggest days of the year, not only to thank you all who support us every single day, but also to kick off Giving Tuesday and really talk about what's meaningful at CaringBridge. 90% of our funding comes from you, our loyal users, and that's important. And we want to thank you for that. And we want to open that up to so many more people to see the benefits of CaringBridge. There are 3 ways that you can donate and engage. One is online for donation, and the second is texting for donation. And then we have a chat, and so you can do all the engaging you want with each other as much as you want. And with that, I am here at CaringBridge in Eagan, Minnesota, and with me is a familiar face, not to me, but I'm so excited that I met her today, Kathy Wurzer. And Kathy is, for many of you that know, of Minnesota Public Radio, Twin Cities PBS, and if that wasn't enough, you founded the nonprofit End in Mind. Thank you so much for co-hosting with me this year.
Oh my gosh, Tia, thank you. It's great to meet you. Welcome to the great state of Minnesota and CaringBridge.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Now, I love CaringBridge, and we've done so much in the way of great work over the years together, events and articles and podcasts, so many great things, showing how CaringBridge helps patients and family caregivers stay connected. And that support and sense of community, well, it just matters so very much. Today, though, I am especially excited and also honored for you to meet an amazing family, Kate and Rob Erickson of Elk River. That's about an hour north of Minneapolis, if you're not familiar with the state of Minnesota. Now, I am a journalist. I live to tell stories, Tia, and theirs truly has touched my heart. They are a dear family with 4 kids under the age of 10. They've been using CaringBridge since 2019, when their identical and conjoined twin daughters came into the world. Conjoined twins, as you know, are very rare. These are beautiful girls, Remy and Reese, and I had the opportunity to go to the Ericksons a few weeks ago to meet the whole family, and I'm telling you, they have a lot going on. Roll the tape.
Good morning. I see you peeking. Good morning. Roll it over. There we go. I know. Are you ready? Is that a little smile? Yeah, we'll get you cleaned up and you can play down here with me.
When I was pregnant, I did not know we were having twins even until 17 weeks. And we went in for a regular checkup and, something happened, the heart rate dropped in. So they're like, okay, well, let's try to get an ultrasound done today, just make sure everything's okay. And sure enough, in that ultrasound at 17 weeks, we found out we were having twins and they were conjoined, so it was all at once. It felt like a dream. It did not feel real at all. Knowing you're gonna have 2 babies, but not knowing what that's gonna look like or how it's gonna work and how they're gonna do was a little scary. So we found out only 5 days before that they were gonna be actually separated. It was a lot of prep work and a lot of Remy's doing this for her, Remy's doing that for her. Remy made up for Reese's lack of it. And it was kind of a playing game of trying to see how to go about it to make sure both of them are okay. She was there for 366 days. A whole year we spent in the hospital with her. Go before you. It's gonna be easier for me to pull it.
I'm sorry.
You gotta tell me if it's too fast or too slow. Coming home was the most amazing thing ever. Like, just to have us all together again and be able to, it was scary, we're in charge of her, and we don't have the doctors to rely on right there, so you're a little worried that maybe we won't make it back to the hospital with her if we need to go, but just to have her here and have the kids see her and love on her and be with Remy again, it just was amazing. Remy is doing amazing. If you look at her, you would not know that she was a conjoined twin because she's doing so well. Reese is a bit of a struggle to try to keep healthy, with a trach and her vent and everything. Reese has a lot she needs to work on. She had a stroke. She's got a little bit of brain damage, so it's just a constant work of trying to get her to learn basic things and just help her grow as much as she can. We don't have any idea what she's gonna look like when she's older, but we're gonna give her every possibility to get to what she can be. If that's just like Remy or not, then we don't know, but we're gonna give her the best option that we can. But we have at least 1 or 2 appointments a day, PT, OT, speech, stuff that we need to work with her. And when we don't have appointments, you're doing that with her. It's just constant stuff that you have to make sure you're keeping on track of, making sure she gets her meds on time, her food on time, every little detail. It's a lot. We are spread thin with appointments. We are spread thin with not having nursing help some days and ending up having to cover night shifts here and there. And it definitely takes a lot out of us as parents. CaringBridge definitely helps me put myself out there. Writing helps me kind of deal with all of the stuff she's going through a little bit better. Everybody is so kind and caring and supportive with everything I put on there, and they check in on me too. And really, I'm writing about Remy and Reese, and it's nice to know that they see that our whole family is going through a lot too. Sometimes I don't even feel like a caregiver, I'm just her mom doing what I need to do. There's no time off from it. You're constantly a caregiver on top of being her parent. We know that Reese could not develop past the age of a 1-year-old. She could maybe never say more than a couple words. She might not walk, but we are hoping that we just give her every tool necessary to try to get past that and to be just like Remy and running around and speaking and whatever she can do. We're just hopeful that she'll push past and really work for it. Any moment something could go wrong and we could lose her, but we just think about all the days that we do get with her and we just focus on that. And we survived almost 2 years with her now, and we're if this is what we get, we're just gonna make the most of it because we don't know what could happen. We are going through this hard time, but it's also so beneficial to have all this good in our life too, and to focus on that hope. And learned a lot about how to keep us whole and what is most important in life. Chase and Lena just absolutely adore them, and they're so good helping with Reese. I just hope that they can grow to be really good human beings, kind to everybody, and that this whole journey has taught them we're not all perfect, we're gonna have struggles, and that they can help pick other people up with them and carry them along in life.
For me, the Ericksons really show the heart of and the need for CaringBridge. And you can just feel the hope that just shines through when you see that family, and also feel the power of the community surrounding them. It really is amazing.
It really is, Kathy, and it reminds me of the heart of CaringBridge, and it really is mobilizing the power of support in your community, and that's what CaringBridge is all about. And I'd like to take a moment to think about gathering. We're here in this gathering, and what does that really mean? And the true word of gathering really means to bring together people that have a point of need for others. And so when we're gathering today and we're talking about CaringBridge and the ability to help people, it's so powerful because what we're doing is actually helping other people to access CaringBridge and be that support that the Ericksons showcase.
Let's talk a little bit about the Ericksons because obviously you can see that they're spinning a lot of plates, and they're working hard to make life as easy as possible for that beautiful child and their whole family. I'm curious from where you sit as CEO of CaringBridge, how reflective are the Ericksons of a typical CaringBridge user?
It's a great question, Kathy. What's great about the Ericksons is we actually serve all ages, all populations, and so they are a great sliver of our population, but the great news is we reach all ages and all geographies. And the last thing I'll mention, it's important because caregivers, right? You saw the Ericksons, they are the true definition of caregiver. 65% of who actually starts a CaringBridge site are caregivers, 35% are patients. So the power of CaringBridge really is to support patients, but the caregivers really need that support as well.
So Tia, I understand that in 2020, at the height of the pandemic, CaringBridge really played a key role in keeping everyone connected, patients and family caregivers. Are you still doing that right now?
Early in the pandemic, it was pretty astounding to see hospitals reaching out to CaringBridge and asking us to be integrated by bedside, primarily for caregivers, to communicate to family members that could not step physically into the facilities. So that was so powerful to watch and see. That still continues today with that ability to communicate and connect your whole network across the nation or across the globe. We're in, as you can see, 195 countries across the globe. And so we are connecting people wherever they are at. Resource-wise, it's been phenomenal. The team's done a great job putting together content that's real-time and addressing the needs of caregivers now. One of those is 14 tips to relieve stress for caregivers, and it's been our best and most downloaded ebook. And so we know we're helping people to live with that stress, but also overcome it.
Glad you brought up caregivers. It's said that if you're not a caregiver now, you will be, given what we have in terms of demographics in this country. Talking again to Kate Erickson, who is obviously a caregiver, and I was asking her about this, and she said, well, I don't consider myself a caregiver, I'm just a mom, What do you think of when you hear that?
Most people don't identify themselves as a caregiver, although during the pandemic, that number, 46% of adults in the US are caregivers right now. And when you take a step back from that number, 26% are what we call the sandwich generation. So they're taking care of people under the age of 18 and over the age of 18. So I think everyone's a caregiver to a certain degree, and we've certainly seen that come true during the pandemic.
Tia, I'm so glad that we are talking about caregiving because you're kind of preaching to the choir here. I just did a really interesting program for PBS on caregiving, and I have my fingers crossed that maybe in 2022 we'll be able to work with CaringBridge on a show as well. So I really appreciate the conversation. We're going to draw next into our gathering Alexandra Drain. She has done so much work to support caregivers throughout her organization, Archangels. Her work is focused on reframing how caregivers are perceived and supported. And I think we can all relate to that. Alexandra, thank you so much for joining us. And really, thank you for your important work when it comes to caregiving.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about your organization. An archangel is an angel of the highest order, which I think is such an appropriate way to describe a family caregiver.
We were very intentional in naming archangels Archangel because I think there can be a stigma associated with the term caregiver. There can be confusion associated with the term caregiver. And we wanted to get right out of the bat, right? Unpaid caregivers, they are archangels. Archangels are warrior angels. They are angels of the highest order, as you just said. They are spreading their arms, their wings out over these people for whom they're caring. They're extraordinary. They're amazing. We need to love on them. We need to lift them up and support them in every single way we can. And I love that CaringBridge, everything about what you're doing, everything about how you talk about what you're doing is to say to these beautiful souls who are fiercely loving on those people over whom they're watching, no one should go through this journey alone. And I appreciate very, very, very deeply the way that your platform helps make sure that nobody does.
Alex, I love the fact that you're a data person, and so is Tia over here at CaringBridge. Could you tell us a little bit about your Caregiver Intensity Index? What do the data show?
Yeah, I think you could say definitively everybody at Archangels is a super geek. You can think of what we do, it's called the Caregiver Intensity Index, and you can think of it as a quiz, a 2-minute quiz. It's actually been described by some folks as a 2-minute therapy session. So right now, I think there is a link that you can see. Please, most importantly, take it. Figure out for yourself what's going on with you. So the data is pretty extraordinary. Before COVID, across the United States, 6% of unpaid caregivers were in the red. As of COVID, that number jumped to 26%. So an over 3 times increase, which we can all imagine why that happened. But we have another number to share with you, which is the percentage of CaringBridge active authors in the red is at 44%. That's a really hard number to hear. And so here are the things that are most driving that intensity, just so you have it. Caregiving related family disagreements, resentment about caregiving responsibilities, feeling underprepared as a caregiver, not having as much personal freedom as desired, having had to cut down on expenses doing to caregiving.
Alex, I also wanted to ask you if you might have any advice for caregivers using CaringBridge, even if they don't call themselves caregivers.
Get them crosswalked over to resources that can help. Number one way to do that is you have to give a space for them to be able to share what's going on with them. You have to give a space for them to be able to sort of catalog, here's the stuff that's going on, so that everybody else out there, that entire community, can jump up and say, I got you. I'll take this. You take this. I'll take that. This person will take that. That's what I personally love about CaringBridge, is it's a mechanism for people to be able to put their bodies there and help this unpaid caregiver, which, by the way, will reduce intensity, which, by the way, translates directly to improved mental health, which is literally a foundational health indicator.
Alex, thank you so much for joining us remotely to talk about work that is of tremendous consequence and value to people at this gathering and to people everywhere. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, I'm incredibly honored to be here. I'm deeply grateful to each of you for what you guys are doing. I would say CaringBridge, you are a caregiver yourself, right? As an organization, and what you're doing for all those caregivers who are out there who could really use some love, who could really use some recognition, who could really use some support. Very grateful. Thank you.
A reminder to everyone here that there is a link to the Caregiver Intensity Index in the chat. I'm so glad you introduced us to Alexandra. Thank you for that. We also, of course, want to shift a little bit here because we have so much to talk about. Something you mentioned at the very beginning, that this is a gathering. It's not an event, it's not a meeting, it's not a gala, but it's a gathering. And I believe that for a gathering to be powerful and to have meaning, we've got to understand the need that's in front of us, right? So as CaringBridge plans for the 25th anniversary, which is a huge milestone, how can we, Tia, make sure that the needs of CaringBridge are going to be met into the next 25 years?
It's such a great question, Kathy. I'm going to anchor us back to the vision of CaringBridge, a world where no one goes through a health journey alone. And in order to fulfill that, we're focusing on 3 things: awareness, content, and data. Awareness so that we can grow. Yes, we're in 195 countries, but there are so many people that still can experience the magic of CaringBridge. The data part is really around caregivers and the impact and the outcomes, the positivity that comes from using CaringBridge. And then content is all about resources. What are the resources we can provide to caregivers and their patients to get through that health journey? And I'll leave you with 2 facts, really. One, there's 53 million caregivers in the US alone. We have 900,000 CaringBridge sites. So if I think about the opportunity in front of us and the funding and the generosity of today that could grow from 900,000 and meet those 53 million people where they need it most. And this is double match, right? So every dollar given will be doubled. So in order, let's grow that 900,000, let's reach that 53 million caregivers, and that's really the goal of today.
Excellent. You know what? Listen to the CEO. She knows her business. And may I take this opportunity to say it's been a real treat to sit with you, really, and to get to know you a little bit. I know there's a link to your bio in the chat, but I want to take just a little bit of time to learn more about you, if that's okay. And I know that you're only, the third CEO of CaringBridge since its inception. Wow.
Yes, humbling, all at the same time.
Tell me more about you.
Yes, I will make it short. Let me start with my foundation, my family. Husband of 20 plus years, 2 teenage daughters, need I say more? I get out with my white lab a lot, Luna, to relieve that teenage mom.
I hope they're not watching.
They probably are, and they're probably embarrassed, but hey, guys. And then from a career standpoint, I pivoted about 10 years ago to mission-driven organizations, and I've never looked back. It's real easy to get up in the morning when you are surrounded by that mission. And when I think about what Sana created 25 years ago, and I'd really like this to sink in, she was a woman entrepreneur, a woman in STEM, and Mark Zuckerberg was 13 years old when Sana went to the basement out of a very big need to help people and created the first social network for good.
Sana is amazing. We love her. Speaking of Sana, I asked her to pop in for a quick hello. Hope you don't mind.
I love it.
It's great to see you, Tia.
Sana, you as well. Thank you so much for stopping by today.
Well, I love coming to CaringBridge. And I'm excited for next year when we get to tell the CaringBridge starting story, because it's been 25 years. But that's not for today. Today is about raising some money.
Absolutely. And I would love, since you made the time to stop by, for you to share with our viewers out there, and really part of this gathering, why and what do you want them to know about sharing and donating to CaringBridge?
Well, there's always 2 things I tell people about CaringBridge. And the first is, if you know anyone that's going through a health journey or a caregiver for that person going through a health journey, tell them about CaringBridge. There's nothing better to help connect friends and family than caringbridge.org. So tell them about CaringBridge and you can impact that whole journey for them. But for today, it's Giving Tuesday, and I think the most important thing is that idea of raising funds. And there's a match today, right?
Absolutely.
So join me. Every dollar you give will be a second dollar for CaringBridge. And in fact, you know I love technology, so you can go online, look at the link, or you can even text a donation to CaringBridge. So please, join me again and give to CaringBridge and make this the biggest and best Giving Tuesday ever.
Thank you, Sana. And again, I would like to invite everyone out there. Let's make Sana proud as we approach the 25-year anniversary and make this the biggest and the best Giving Tuesday. Thank you.
Well, it's clear to me why CaringBridge has been so very successful. Amazing people with a powerful vision.
Kathy, thank you so much for the kind words, and Sana, all to you as well. Speaking of vision, I would love to thank our sponsors for the event this evening. 1, Medica Foundation, and 2, Holstad Consulting.
By the way, if this was in real life, or as the kids say, IRL, is that right? Did I get that right? We, of course, would have a bunch of people come up on stage and talk, but we can't do that tonight because, COVID. So what we're going to do is roll some tape with a lot of amazing people who've got some really lovely things to say. So live from HQ here in Eagan, we're going to throw it to you.
I've been working at CaringBridge for over 5 years, and I've seen how CaringBridge helps us be there for our loved ones when they go through a health journey. I donate because I see the difference it makes, and I believe in the cause.
Struggling with a health issue, whether physical or mental, is never easy and can be really isolating. I don't want anyone to deal with a health issue alone, and that is why I'm a CaringBridge donor.
I was a donor in high school because my buddy Owen had a site. Now that I'm in college, my roommates are also donors because they support CaringBridge and also like the t-shirts. Thank you for your support.
I donate to CaringBridge because my little sister has a site. You should too.
I give to CaringBridge because my family used it when my dad was battling brain cancer. I believe in the mission so much that I was fortunate enough to be able to work here. I truly think that CaringBridge is invaluable to those who are going through health journeys, and that is why I'm a CaringBridge donor.
I want more people to have the benefit of the support and help and healing power that Caring Bridge can provide during a care journey.
I'm a Caring Bridge donator because now more than ever we need a sense of community. A community that we've curated, a community that's safe, a community made up of people that we love and that love us.
The past 18 months have been incredibly difficult for everyone, especially those who are sick and feeling much more isolated and alone. Caring Bridge makes sure people feel loved and included and part of a bigger community. And it's that reason, my friends, that I've been a Caring Bridge donor for 18 years.